You're listening to The Rack Show on VoxVii.com. Join Conrad.
Compared to a lot of other people, I'm very weak, but I'm super plucky, so I try.
And Lucas.
I call upon chaos spirits to grant death.
And Lucas missed.
I did not miss. That bunk bed, dead.
As they take geek culture off the shelf and show it to you.
It still looks goofy from the outside.
But it's so fun that you don't care.
You don't care.
The Rack Show. Geek culture at its best.
Hello and welcome to The Rack, where we take geek culture off the shelf and show it to you. I'm Conrad. I do not know how to talk. I apologize.
You never get that tagline right, ever.
I do too. That's Lucas, by the way, in case you were
I'm here.
who just rudely interrupted me.
And
welcome to Season 2, Episode 2. We made it to a second episode.
a season. Second season.
Second
we came
season.
Back.
I'm actually kind of stoked about that, not gonna lie. We're broadcasting, as always, and by always, I mean since the last time we broadcast, at the Phoenix Cafe in Hazel Park, where you guys are welcome to come join us during regular business hours. Unfortunately, now is not that time. It's Monday night for us. We had to kind of skip our usual Sunday night broadcast, or not broadcast, but recording, because it was Easter, which, you know, sometimes people like to do things on Easter that involve eggs and children and family.
Ham.
He ate ham.
And mashed potatoes.
I did as well, actually. It was really good.
And I took a nap.
So it was a dream Easter for Lucas, but that's why we couldn't do it then. So now we're a little smidge behind, but hey, you know, it comes with the territory.
I just want to do a shout out. We are at the Phoenix Cafe in Hazel Park. You can check out their website at thephoenixcafehazelpark.com. They are open Tuesdays through Saturdays, so check them out. It's a cool place to come hang out, listen to some music, look at some art. There's a cool thing that's going to be happening actually here.
It's actually happening right now. Yeah, it's actually called Z-Show 2. It is the second time they are doing this. They have some zombie-themed artwork all around the place. It's actually really cool. They have taxidermied zombie elves, taxidermied zombie squirrels in the cafe. Yeah, it's actually right next to the shoes that has artwork on them as well. There's some tile work. There's some drawings. There's some pictures. Yes, drawings. I like to be English when I say drawings, but drawings. It's a pretty neat place, and we're gonna say this every single time that we're here because you should definitely come check it out. It is a gem. I'm actually embarrassed that I didn't know about this place sooner.
And check out, you grew up here.
Yeah,
you have no excuse.
I know, man. I just said that.
Like, I'm a foreigner.
You don't have to jump on top. I'm sorry, okay?
You should have been here.
Anyway,
Anyways, you should come out and see our show live when we do them live here in the Phoenix Cafe. They're going to be on Sundays, generally. Check out our website at therackshow.com for schedule and times. Our show will usually, when it's here at the Phoenix Cafe, open up for a local band, so just stay and watch that local band and support the Phoenix Cafe, hazelpark.com.
I don't know why that I even want to say this, but I'm admitting it, that I'm actually, like, when Lucas is talking, I'm giving thumbs up. Like, I'm actually like, yeah, you really want to do that. And the only person that can possibly see it is Mike, who is actually sitting here allowing us to be inside his cafe because he's one of the owners. And then Lucas himself, as well as Josh, who we're going to introduce here in a few minutes. Actually, technically 50 seconds from now is when we're supposed to. But I guess we'll jump a little ahead of the gun since I pointed it out.
Well, let's point out, you can go to therackshow.com, like us on Facebook. We're going to say this a couple times during the show like we always do, but make sure you check that out.
Dude, 35 seconds. Come on, we can do this. We can stay on schedule.
Talk
about nothing for 35 seconds. Go.
So what'd you do for Easter?
I actually hung out with my family. I did some egg hunting with the kids, ate some food. It was 420. Not saying what happened because of that, but it was a really good time for me, not gonna lie. It was one of the better family engagements that I had. How about you?
I ate ham and mashed potatoes and took a nap.
As you mentioned before.
I obviously went to church with my family in the morning, and it was, you know what's really cool?
What?
It was steampunk themed.
Nice.
Our service was steampunk themed. I got to talk to them. They had some great pieces, set pieces that I might get my hands on, which I'm really excited about, because I'm gonna hand them over to Mike Wiggins for his Steamtopia event, which we will plug at the end of this podcast, so please stay tuned. What'd you do, Josh?
Oh, by the way, this is Josh Brewer. We're actually 15 seconds late in introducing him, but Josh Brewer, our LARP extraordinaire, is with us. And yes, what did you do for Easter?
Oh man, my Easter was not that thrilling. I went over to the in-laws' house took a nap after eating way too much food and woke up after everybody had already left.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, I did something
America.
Like that. I did something like that.
ignoring the in-laws as much as possible, actually. So
Josh and I are big guys, so come see us. You'll see that. We're big guys.
why?
Wow, that was a weird.
I'm just saying.
What was that?
What
were you trying to do there?
we like holidays that pertain to food. I'm not gonna lie. Thanksgiving's like the holy holiday.
All right, we're gonna jump off of that really awkward tangent that Lucas just took, and we're gonna talk to Josh. One of the reasons why he's here, aside from being one of Lucas's best friends, is that he is an expert in a part of geek culture that Lucas is somewhat familiar with. I am a complete novice. It is called live action role playing,
Which is LARP, and I have a story that leads into this, and I really want to tell it. So
is it going to be another weird tangent
No,
where
it's
it gets
not weird.
really awkward?
This is the show, man. This is how it works.
Okay, fine, go.
So what happens is Josh and I used to do a commercial company. We would make commercials, and Josh came to work for me. And he was always trying to we met in college, going all the way back. We met way back on the first day. We went to college together.
Yeah, back in 06.
And then after I left that college, we met up again through some friends, and he started working with me doing film and video. He'd always come to set, be like, hey, I'm doing LARP this weekend. I'm like, what's LARP, dude? What is this? He's like, well, we take foam swords and we hit each other and stuff like that. That is my interpretation of what he said. He's not gonna agree with that, but he kept bothering me.
You can't see Josh's reaction. I wish we had a video camera here.
He finally wore me down after about a month and a half of hey, we're doing this LARP thing. It's free your first time. Like, well, if it's free and there's gonna be food, I'm down. Like Brown. Does that work?
We just said don't make it awkward, and you just keep consistently making it
I
awkward.
went to LARP. I went to this LARP up near Holly where they do the Renaissance Festival. I actually enjoyed it. It was weird. I was sort of scared. I didn't know what I was going to do. I did a whole post on my personal website, lucasdelcastillo.com. You can look at it. Very, very first post a few years ago, and I explained the different emotions that you go through while LARPing. And just being like a newbie at it, but it was really cool. I did like it. I did go a couple other times. I actually paid, and it's just not about the food. I'm just gonna say that it's really cool. There's a lot of great people you meet, but I'm gonna hand it over to Josh.
My favorite part so far is that we introduced our guest, and then Lucas just talked and didn't let him say a damn word.
I needed to introduce Josh, and this is like he's a really big LARPer. Like this is his thing. Like we all have a thing on the show. This is his thing. This is part of his
as
identity.
opposed to the 20 other things I do, but yes.
Well, right now, this is your thing. When we bring you back later, you're
an
just talking
expert
about things.
at
Right
this.
now, we're talking about LARP.
Right. So, for those of you that don't know LARP as much as Lucas does, live action role playing is actually an immersive experience. So you're going to be taking an entire weekend going off in the woods, like Lucas said, hitting people with foam swords, but it's a lot more than that. You get into your character's head, you enjoy the roleplay experience with other people, just like you would in a tabletop, but in a much more personal experience over the course of an entire weekend. You can be sleeping in your cabin, all of a sudden, boom, a lich busts in the door.
That happened to us
That
first
did
night.
happen.
And it scared the shit out of me. Like, we're all sleeping in the cabin, and Josh is there, and Josh is like, don't sleep near the door. I'm like, well, I'm going to anyways, because I do what I want.
Because he knows better.
That's right. And I'm sleeping, and all of a sudden, the door just opens up in the cabin, and somebody says something and throws some kind of, what was it, beanbag or whatever they throw inside. They threw something inside of our thing, and it just scared the shit out of me that night, because you're always in that experience. You don't leave it until the last day,
it's
right?
Friday afternoon through Sunday morning, straight. You're in character the entire time. It's a really immersive experience. Like it's just your entire weekend is eaten by this, and it's a really, really great experience. It's a lot of fun. It can get pretty intense at times. I mean, when you're in the middle of the night, middle of the woods in the dark, and something's chasing you, it gets pretty creepy sometimes.
I honestly have to say I had a blast, and I miss it. I went during the winter, so it was cold, and they dressed me. My first time, they dressed me and allowed me to have costumes, because they have a bunch of costumes there, and I had a weapon. I played a gypsy, because that's what I do.
Lucas is just that flamboyant and talks
right.
a lot.
I just did a gypsy.
He played it very well.
He loves sashes. You just got to see this guy's closet. It's ridiculous.
It's amazing. So, yeah, I love the sashes.
Knew it.
So anyway, the place that I actually play at is shiftedlands.com.
Okay.
Check it out. It is Like I said, an entire weekend. Your first time's free. If you want to go, they'll help you out with weapons and costume and all that jazz. You get fed 4 meals over the course of an entire weekend.
And they're good meals, guys.
Yeah,
I believe I had Chinese one night. What else do they do? I remember Chinese.
I know they do burgers and hot dogs and like barbecue and stuff like that.
I remember Lucas was telling me about this, and one of the things that he really took away was that the food was amazing.
It was pretty good, yeah. It was nothing to,
This isn't a
try.
fact. This isn't a fat guy.
You're telling me a fat guy was concerned about the food?
No, he wasn't concerned at all. That's the thing. This is something that he really took away from your guys' group, which is what again?
Shiftedlands.com.
Shiftedlands, and shiftedlands.com is the website.
Yep.
That the food is just phenomenal. So, and if it's
They
free,
do it
hey,
up.
go for a free weekend dinner. Then enjoy this role-playing thing on the side, if that's what you're really into. But it sounds cool.
It's in cabins. We have a tavern. It's out in the woods. It's like all really well done, and there's a whole team that runs it. So
It's like
it's a really
camping with kobolds, I guess.
It's like camping with World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and it's
There you go.
it
And
is
it's
fun.
you in the
is-
game.
It is a lot of fun. One of my favorite things was if I remember right, they had this cabin that was all sectioned off the whole weekend, and they used it as like an instance. And the whole town. I'm gonna try to explain this, and you can correct me.
I will.
There's this main area where we eat and we trade. It's called the tavern, and you have craftsmen. Would you call them craftsmen?
Sure. Yeah.
They make stuff like weapons and trinkets and all kinds of stuff, and that's pretty much what my character was based in. I wanted to be a craftsman or a beer maker or something like that, and you actually earn points and experience points. Josh will explain that more, but I sort of hung out in the tavern because I was sort of scared to fight. But I got to fight, and I remember watching the first couple fights, I was like, and then I sort of nonchalantly tapped a guy, and I said 5 damage or whatever it was, and I realized this fighting thing is pretty cool, and I was like, go wholeheartedly into it after that. By the end of the weekend, we were like doing an instance where we were walking through this cabin over and over again, and the whole town was just up there, and we were all sort of hurtled together, and somebody had gave me this velvet cloak that I wore, which is like the coolest thing. I felt like a badass. I had this velvet black coat, and I remember there was one of the girls, they were sort of cuddled up inside of my cloak because it was so big. It was big enough for me and another person, and she didn't have anything, and I believe she was, I don't know what she was, it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. I'm not gonna lie. If you can see my face, I sort of miss it now. I haven't had a lot of time to go back and do it. I've done it like 3 times a couple years ago, and we're gonna be looking at doing it again this summer. And we would like you to come out, but we're gonna talk about that at the end of this topic. I'm gonna push it over to Josh. Sort of explain the mechanics behind it.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go. I've never gone before. Talk me through actually making a character, learning what, basically dumb it down for everybody. What do you have to know, basically, to get into it?
Well, the first thing you need to do is decide what kind of character you want to play.
Okay.
If you're a person that likes to be aggressive, that's very outgoing, play a fighter. Play an offensive caster. Play something like that. Once you have a general concept for your character, you can decide on a race. If you want to be something a little bit more extravagant, play a gypsy like Lucas did. If you want to be the kind of person that can just wear a cloak and hide in a corner all day, feel free to play a dark elf. There's everything from humans to trolls. So, I mean, you can definitely play whatever you want.
What's the Cthulhu-looking guy with the blah, blah, blah?
Illithid with the dangly little
Out of his
things off the chin.
You see
Yeah.
those, and people are dressed up like that, which is cool.
It's cool. But once you have an idea of what kind of race you want to play, what kind of character you want to play, really the best thing to do is just get out there and enjoy the game. Don't really worry about the mechanics your first time. It's not all about the mechanics in the game. It's just going out there, enjoying the role play, enjoying the interaction with other people, and really, really delving into the experience of the live action role playing.
Now, there's set rules, basically. I can't just come in and be like, I want to be this character that I really liked in Final Fantasy VII.
No.
Or I guess 11 is when they have the different races. Anyway.
Right. You could base a character off of that.
Okay.
But you wouldn't be able to just walk in and say, well, I'm all powerful, whatever. As you go, your character grows.
Okay.
The more events you go to, the bigger your character gets.
Okay. And there's a set amount of... There's a different... on the website, you can look through it, and there's different species, or what would they call races, that you can play. So you can't be a Moog, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, there's about 25 different starter races.
But you can be a fox person.
Yes.
Or you could be any animal person, I believe, because there's a beast. class, and you could be any type of animal there is.
Like, so, okay.
You could be a cat, Dad.
So I have a, I was going to use a different example, but sure, we'll go with that. All right. I have a cat, and so I like cats. So I come in and I go, I love cats. I want to be a cat person.
We'd call that a beastman. You could pick any kind of feline. You could do a domesticated cat if you really wanted.
Okay.
But we'd be looking at more like panther, tiger, lion.
And
He wants to be a cat.
And now,
He
are
wants to be
there
a cat. Look at him.
different? Thank you. Are there different like stats or abilities depending on which kind of cat person I am? Like, is that a thing, or do they all have the same stats and this is just kind of like flavor text?
Not at first, but spoiler alert, there are elder abilities for each race, and things change as the different beastmen progress into their different races.
Okay.
So there can be some different paths there.
So kind of like the cats start almost kind of the same, like maybe the dogs or like wolves all start the same. So like say like my buddy Josh, who you may or may not meet later on the show, fellas or ladies, anybody who's listening, because he's a fellow geek like us.
We both have
Joshes.
names Josh, yeah.
This is my Josh I'm talking about. He loves foxes. He thinks foxes are just the shit.
And we usually refer to Josh here on the show. We'll probably refer to him thus here forward as Brewer.
As Brewer, yeah. This Josh that is currently with us that I'm talking to. Anyway, so I want to be now a fox person. So there are different stats from the cat person than for the fox person, or different abilities or whatever. Or
once your character grows, there can be.
Okay, so you all basically kind of start the same.
All the beast people, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of there being not only within Beastmen all these different variations, but just base races.
Human.
A ton of different variations
Yeah. Like
and things you can do. And there's all levels of makeup. Like if you go as a human, you really don't have to do much. You just throw on some clothing and you're good.
But there's even two subsections of human. Like there's a city human, and then there's a...
Well, like you got like gypsies, which are humans, and there's barbarians, which are humans, and then you've got like pirate type people, which are humans. So, yeah, it's a very big game. It's there's a lot to it. It's a lot to explore.
Can you rattle off some of the classes, or not some of the classes, some of the races, so we have an idea?
Beastman, dwarf, elf, dark elf, human, ghoul, which is like kind of an undead type deal. Troll, orc, ogre, Nullifidian, which is like an anti-magic type.
Nullifidian.
Those guys are so crazy. I played with a Nullifidian. You can't even heal them with magic.
No, they're completely immune to it. They're completely immune to it.
Oh, that's right. They're immune to it. They're immune to any kind of magic. So the magic, they don't even understand. They can't even see it. If there's a magic pendant, they can't. They just see a pendant, right?
Yeah.
So if there are magic items in the game, and if there are, can they not use them?
Absolutely. There's an entire world of items. Everything from relics to artifacts to magic items to stuff like that.
I still have my tin. I found it in the garage.
Oh, man.
I have my tin. It has the tubes with the spells in it and the potions that I've been making and some of the brews that I've been making and some of the monies that I have. I have like a couple of gems that are unpolished. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. It's awesome. And then I had a crafting book. Remember? I gave that back to you?
Yeah, there's all kinds of...
So I had recipes because you have to earn those recipes or find them or trade for them. It's pretty cool.
So, like I said, it's just an endless game. There's so much to explore. It's been going for about 15 years now. And there are characters that have been around for 15 years.
Oh, they haven't nerfed those characters yet?
They're working on it, but no, there are characters that have been around for 15 years that are absolutely massive, and there are people that have walked in their first day. So, I mean, and they do cater to everyone. They help all different levels of people out, newbies all the way up to the
I also want to say
veterans.
this, and I need to make this clear. When I write about this on my blog post back in the day when I wrote it, I expected to see like these uber nerds, because let's face it, even in geek culture, LARP is sort of like the dirty, dark corner of geek culture that people are like, oh,
Everybody's role
I don't think
models
I'd do that.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it all types at LARP. It didn't have what you thought was like going to be these uber nerds or uber geeks, which there's nothing wrong with, because I'm one of those uber nerd geek people, but
It's like a niche culture, yeah. So
I believe you even were a consultant for one of the radio DJs here on the Riff, right? Was it Chuck the Freak or?
Oh yeah, I had an opportunity to LARP in the park at Rochester Park with Chuck the Freak from Riff, with about 50, maybe 60 other people. We had a little thing with Specs Howard going on.
And you sort of showed him how it went, because I believe Chuck the Freak, I don't know if he's around here in the Detroit area anymore, Conrad would know that.
Dave and Chuck the Freak are both on the mornings on
101 WRF. Yep.
And you LARP with him. You sort of taught him how to do it and everything. Right?
Yeah, there was a big event, and like it was just a cool little commercial thing that they threw together. But yeah, that was a really cool event that I had a chance to participate in and help out with.
So it takes all types of people to play LARP. All types, kids. I believe the youngest can only be
I think it's either 12 or 14 you can start at, and from there on you're golden.
And that's is that in your group, or is that pretty much a norm?
It really varies. It depends on family friendliness. Like ours is a family game.
It's like a PG-13
they try to minimize.
game.
Yeah, it's PG-13. They minimize swearing, no alcohol, no smoking outside of certain areas. But there are games that are 21 and up only, and are absolutely crazy. Nothing against them. I just like the whole fantasy kind of role play game aspect, as opposed to just like all out combat, crush each other in the face type stuff. So.
Okay. Now, and I think you were probably expecting this question. Are there people that throw tennis balls and yell lightning bolt?
I know this answer. Go ahead.
There are no tennis balls.
Those would hurt.
Okay, so Nerf balls.
So they're essentially
Koosh balls,
they're
whatever.
essentially fabric packets filled with birdseed. That aside, there are spells with lightning bolts and stuff like that. So it isn't too uncommon to hear somebody say, I call upon old elements to summon a lightning bolt and chuck a packet at you and smack you in the face.
And these packets they don't hurt, because the great thing is they're birdseed. So when they land and if we can't find them, they turn into
biodegradable
grass.
and it's perfectly cool.
Very green.
It's very
Nice.
green.
Yeah.
The second part is they don't really hurt. People are generally pretty careful about hurting the other person. Like when you're a newbie, like I got into it, I think I hurt Josh at one point where I hit him, and I was getting into it way too much. That's how deep I got my first time. I think I hit him in the knuckles.
Do you like getting deep, Lucas?
Yeah, I do. Only here on the rack.
I remember that Luke was telling me this about your experience. There was a person who was kind of showing him the ropes, training him, because there's a little training seminar kind of people have to go through, kind of what they're expecting, what so they don't get surprised. And the dude training it said, I think you said it was a centaur? Or,
yeah, Minotaur.
He was a Minotaur. And in the game, he warned Lucas, I'm sorry I'm telling kind of this part of the story, but I barely talked during this. He told Lucas that I'm not, don't be offended by what I say and what I do in the game, because right now I'm talking to you as Bill, or whatever his name is.
His name's Rich. I actually know who you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
But in the game, I'm going to be kind of a jerk. I'm going to be kind of an asshole, because that's my character.
Because it's a Minotaur. And they're
It's
generally
Minotaur,
jerks,
yeah.
aren't they?
No, actually, Minotaurs actually tend to be more good guys. They tend to be very stern, but they do tend to be good guys.
This guy was a jerk in game.
There are a lot of people. In Shifted Lands, there's no regulation on if you can be good or evil or anything like that. You can be a complete douchebag to everyone, and people just ignore you or be a douchebag back. But there's no limitation on it.
And this is just acting also, so it's just like being in a movie. If that person's being a jerk to you on set, it's just on set. When these people come out of character at the end of the day, or not at the end of the day, at the end of the session, which is on Sunday, or right before the session starts, these are some of the nicest people that I've ever met. They are just excited for you to be there, and they're welcoming, and it's a great community. They're happy to explain, and I'm sort of annoying when I got there. I played a gypsy, and I was never really in character, so I'm asking questions like, how is it like to be a Minotaur? Right in character, I'm like, how's it like to be, a blacksmith? What's that like?
Racist. Sorry.
So they totally put up with me, because I was so interested in this niche culture inside of geekdom. I'd be happy to go back.
I'm not going to lie. I am maybe a little embarrassed to say that I'm curious about it as well, but and I only mean embarrassed because I haven't experienced it like Lucas, so I'm still a part of the geek culture that is on the outside looking in. Like, when's the next time this is going down?
Well, it happens every month here in Michigan and every month in Indiana.
Okay.
1 weekend per location. But it does happen here and there.
The Michigan one, if I understood, is better, right?
It depends on who you ask, but really they're pretty balanced.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both really good quality events. In Indiana, there tends to be more like day events and not full weekend, but that's not a bad thing. They're just a little bit shorter events.
So when's the next one coming up in Michigan?
I believe the next one's coming up May 9th.
If you want to use your cell phone to look that up.
Let me go
We'll
ahead
pause for you.
Let me go ahead
I'll
and check
plug
that.
It's called shiftedlands.com, I believe. You can go on there. You can look at their manual. Do you have to be a member to look at the manual?
Nope, the rulebook is actually posted right online.
Cool, because I'm the kind of guy, and Lucas said this last time, I read instructions. It's what I do. So I would actually want to read that front and back just to make sure that I did it correctly.
It's huge. It's a few hundred pages, okay, Conrad? So just so you know what you're getting into, they have a humongous storyline going, and that's
but it's
all
not
in
that
there.
complicated.
They did actually recently post a newbie guide.
Oh,
it's
nice.
a shorter rule book. It's about 40 pages. Explains a lot more on how to get the game started and how to go to your first event. That event's going to be May 9th through 11th.
Okay.
For more info on that, shiftedlands.com, and you can check that out.
Awesome.
Okay.
And that's like I said, I'm definitely going to look into it. Lucas, you going to stay the same character?
Oh, yeah, I like my gypsy.
Okay.
I don't know. I probably will. Maybe.
Well, I mean, you've already got experience for that character, right? So you'd want to...
Yeah,
you do.
I probably would stay. Because
Okay.
that means I get
I
to keep
play a
as-
different character than you had last time. I had a
Yeah.
character permanently die, so...
Permadeath, and that's something... Oh, we're done talking about this topic. We didn't even get to talk about that. Son of a bitch.
It happens.
It happens. Permadeath.
It's rare.
Go to the website,
But it happens.
shiftandlands.com, and then you can read up on the rules about it.
And if you have any questions, feel free to send us a message over the rack, and either I or Joshua... or Brewer will try to get back to you. Just let us know.
I'll let you guys know. Now we're going to jump into the rest of the show. Sorry, we kind of not hijacked it with LARPing, but it's just a really interesting kind of topic to talk about. But there's other stuff out there on the web, including a web series, a website called limbaro.org, which has a comic on it called JL8. And this is another thing that Lucas is going to take credit for turning me on to, and I'll give him credit. He turned me on to it. And you can't see him right now, but he's posing over here because he's really proud of himself.
I did.
But it's a really cool concept comic of what if the Justice League, so Superman, Batman, Martian Manhunter, Power Girl, Power Girl? Yeah, Power Girl. Wonder Woman.
They're adorable, all of them.
They are. Green Lantern, Flash. What if all of these guys were in grade school together? So it's just the way it sounds. Alfred drives Batman in the very first comic.
They're a bunch of 8-year-olds, essentially.
That's why it's
JL8.
called
JL, and then the number 8.
Drives them to grade school, and then he has to worry about his first day in school. And apparently he has a new costume they doesn't like that's a thing. But it's these adorable scenarios that these kids are put into, and they just happen to be superheroes. I think that Superman has a crush on Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman thinks of him as a brother. Power Girl has a crush on Superman, but Batman has a crush on Power Girl, and the Flash is just hilarious and doesn't have a crush on anybody.
He's ADHD in this.
Yes, it's really fun stuff. What the comic does, and the writer of it is Yale Stewart, by the way, and he does an amazing job of just kind of bringing these characters to life. And while staying true to the source material of DC Comics, he also kind of brings them alive as these bright-eyed kids, And I just think that he did a really good job with it. And I talked about this last time as well. I think it's a good representation of Wonder Woman as that strong female character, especially in contrast to her in the comic best friend, Power Girl, who, by the way, they don't really go by... Well, some of them don't really go by their superhero names. Like Clark is just called Clark. He's not called Superman because he's 8. Batman is called Bruce. Hal Jordan is called Hal, not called Green Lantern. But the concepts that they bring to the table was kind of cool. There's a birthday party for Wonder Woman, like I said, for lack of a better word, Diana, where it's revealed that she's a princess, and they've been playing make-believe in school, and she hates being the princess. Turns out that it's because she hates being a princess for real. It's really well written. I like it a lot. Again, Lucas will take credit for showing me this comic, so thank you, Lucas. What is your... Okay, I'm going to bring up scenarios now in the comic. I already have mine down. But Lucas, what is your favorite, I guess, comic strip? Situation in the comic?
In this one, I love the love story, the love triangle. I think it's just adorable. As 8-year-olds.
Between...
all of them. The 4. It's like he said, it's Superman,
He says love
Batman.
triangles. It's a love...
Quadrangle.
It's a crush You know, it's a little cutesy pootsy.
It's a rhombus.
Yeah, sure, which is a square, but whatever.
I like that. I just like the cuteness of it. I don't know. It's just entertaining. Like as you said, they're very true to the source material, even though this is not an official DC comic. It's just something you see on the web. It's absolutely free to look at. Go check it out. They also have a Facebook where they post the new comic strip on it. They're about 175 in.
There's 170 right now, or 71.
So there's 171 strips out, and they're all in chronological order. So start at 1. I encourage you to start at 1. They have great cameos by other...
Yes, that is true, and that's something that I wanted to get at, because this was my favorite comic that I was getting at was Kara, aka Power Girl, and Diana, aka Wonder Woman, were sitting in the cafeteria, and she was moping because she didn't think that Clark liked her, and Diana's trying to be like, oh no, he has to like you because he'd be stupid not to. And all of a sudden, these spitwads come out of nowhere, and you see Diana get up, and she just got her bracers of power and her tiara and her lasso of truth from her birthday, literally the comic strip before that, and she deflects them all, and the next panel shows a 8-year-old Blue Beetle and Booster Gold spinning spitwads at these girls, and they're cheesing it, they're running away. I just think it's really cool. The Legion of Doom, for lack of a better word, is in it as well. Kid version of Lex Luthor, of Solomon Grundy, of Joker. It's just, I don't know. And then... It's
adorable.
It's adorable, basically.
If you like comic books and you like the JLA, go check out JL8. You can Google JL8, or you can look for it on Facebook.
The website is actually, if you want to go to it, it's Limbero, limbero.org /JL8. That'll take you to the newest comic. And then you can hit the archive button and go back or go forth, however. But you got the Batman as the lovable owner with a heart of gold. You got the Boy Scout, Hal Jordan. Literally, the Green Lantern Corps are Boy Scouts. So when you meet John Stewart and Guy Gordon and Sinestro, they actually belong to the Boy Scouts. You got the ADHD Flash. It's some good reading. I'm not gonna lie, it's some really good stuff.
So check it out and let us know what you think about it on Facebook. Send us a message. We always want to interact with you guys. We love hearing from you. The next topic here is, what is this? I didn't get to see this.
I've recently been watching a show called the Metal Hurlant Chronicles, it's on Sci-Fi now. It is what do you call it? A new show they just brought over. I mean, it's not new because it's already been in France for a little while, but Sci-Fi has kind of been taking shows from other areas like Canada, France, England, whatever, bringing it over to us a few seasons in, because it's already been successful elsewhere. So there's only been, actually now, because it's Monday night, there's been 4 episodes on Sci-Fi. Seems really cool, based on a French comic anthology of the same name that started in 1974. Basically kind of the first adult comic, I guess, not adult comic, but adult content comic out there that dealt with like horror and sci-fi and adult situations. And really the only kind of tying, because it's episodic, basically the beginning and end of episode, one full story, and then you go to the next episode and it's another full story. And the only really kind of tying element to this is this asteroid that's going through space called the Metal Hurlant, which apparently has been described as a piece of a planet that got destroyed because the inhabitants went mad. And so as this asteroid flies by these inhabited worlds, it tells the story of what's happening on that world. The very first episode has a society that is basically medieval. They're having a sword and lance tournament to try to decide who's going to be the next ruler of the kingdom, but at the same time, it's being televised by androids. It's kind of similar to, and I think Lucas made this comparison to Twilight Zone, where it's all different basically every time you go. And this just takes it to a more extreme Twilight Zone, because the next episode after that was about a race of these basically slave creatures that were very docile and did all the work for the humans. And then the Metal Hurlant went by, and all of a sudden they rose up against their human enslavers, I guess, right there. But that kind of makes the humans bad guys, even though in the show they kind of came off as good guys. And this ragtag group of humans had to go and try to defeat these guys with this last-ditch effort. And if they did this thing, which I'm not going to tell you about, you'll watch the show yourself and find out, it will save the human race. even though it's like a French show and maybe people don't really know that much
overdubbed
about it.
How's it?
What do you mean?
Is it like in English?
It is in English. Like I said, while it's a French show, and it is in English, and actually has English actors and some, not English, but American actors, some pretty beefy actors, actually.
So is
Rutger Hauer, I don't know if you actually saw Hobo with a Shotgun. Rutger Hauer is in it. Scott Adkins, who people will know very much, especially in the geek community. He's the guy from Farscape, the lead guy in that. Michael J. White, who a lot of people will know from Spawn, the movie, and the cartoon. He voiced those. And if you don't know either of those, everybody on the planet saw The Dark Knight. He's the black gang member that has a verbal sparring match basically with Joker before he does the magic trick. Like, he's the big guy that does that. Oh no, Scott Adkins, I was wrong. That's not who he is. He's a martial artist actor who's really good. I'm sorry, I apologize. I was actually thinking of Joe Flanagan is the guy from Farscape. And then you have Jay Marsters, who everybody in the Whedonverse will obviously know as Spike from Buffy and the Angel series. So this show has some acting muscle behind it, and it also has some action behind it. Like I said, the guy that I talked about, Scott Adkins, an amazing martial artist, along with Michael J. White. In the very first episode of the show, they're doing these amazing there's a choreographed fight, and it just looks really good. The show is, like I said, on Sci-Fi's. 2 episodes air at 8 p.m. on Monday nights, 8 and 8:30 respectively. I gotta go home and actually watch the 3rd and 4th. It's some good watching. The intro is something out of, like, sci-fi 1970s stuff. You know, you have a gunslinger that's a chick in a bikini that's, old Western, but she's wielding a laser pistol. You have a martial artist that's taking out, a ninja that's taking out sci-fi robots. It's some good stuff. I absolutely highly suggest you check it out. And now we are going to go on to the next thing that is actually Lucas's baby, Meltdown.
Well, let's first of all, I don't know if Meltdown is... Okay, Season 1, I think we touched on it. The Ouya was coming out. I finally got it during the summer while we were on our hiatus. It wasn't well received. Let's just put it that way.
Well, it's a good... You said that it was a good nostalgia bomb, basically.
Well,
people could play old games on it.
First of all, it wasn't well received. Like, people expected other things. To do other things.
Like what?
To do better things.
Like what?
To be this great console for indie games and budget games. And the great thing is it was, but the bad thing is do you know what a budget indie game looks like? Like, it's just not polished. Sometimes it doesn't work. And that was the stumbling block of Ouya. It had a couple solid titles like Towerfall. The Bard's Tale was on there, but the Bard's Tale's on everything. And they had a couple things that were just Ouya based. And the things that were just Ouya based are solid, like, party games. And it also does emulators very well. Problem is, it didn't fulfill, or people didn't think it was worth it. That being said, it's $100. The controller was sticky. Like, it didn't work, but the great thing is you can use a Xbox 360 controller or a PlayStation 3 controller, and it's amazing. One of the tricks that we had to learn is that if you put the Ouya on its side, the OEM Ouya controller works actually better, and there's less latency.
The actual unit on its side?
Yeah, you put the little... It's about as big as a Rubik's Cube. And what I do with it, and it's taken me about a year to figure out what to do with this thing, because I do have an Xbox 360, and I do have a PlayStation 3, and sooner or later we'll get the other 2 systems for the show so we can start doing, like, games, but...
God willing.
What I really enjoy with the Ouya is I throw it in a box or my backpack, because it's really small on a couple of controllers, and I can take it to a friend's house and we can do party games. It is excellent at party games. It's like 3 minutes to set up. You plug an HDMI cord in. I have a USB drive that I plug in the back of it. There's a bunch of games on, including some games like SNES games from our emulator stuff. And we're playing Mario Kart or for the SNES back in those SNES days.
Yeah.
Or we're playing Towerfall, which is a Ouya exclusive.
That's the one with the archers?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it's one where you have to... You can have the 4 people in the game, and then basically you have 3 arrows, I think, and you have to push a button and you could shoot arrows at other people, and if you run out of arrows, you have to kind of go and get them.
Or pick up somebody else's arrows.
Or pick up someone else's arrows. It's a neat concept. Somebody tried to compare it to Super Smash Brothers, which is inaccurate in my personal opinion, but it seemed kind of cool when I saw it.
Yeah, and that game runs about $15. Ouya's getting smart now. It's based on Android, but it's an Android-esque thing. It has its own GUI. For people that don't know what that means.
Say, explain what that is.
It's a graphical interface. So, like, when you turn on your Xbox, you see how you can get to the Xbox games and Xbox movies and Xbox stuff. Or PlayStation has the little icons you can go to. It has its own graphical interface that's skinned over the Android experience. So it's not like using your phone at all. It's more like using a console.
Which is what you are using, pretty much, yeah.
So it's really easy to use. It's cheap now. You can starting to find them for like $60 and $70. The old one, and they're trying to build a new one, but the great thing is now they're putting the Ouya system on other consoles, indie consoles that are coming out, and I forgot what it was. I'll post it to Facebook if I can do a little write-up on the Ouya.
So it's tacking it, so the Ouya is being tacked onto other units. Like, you'll have an Ouya inside, or I guess with another indie console.
Yeah, I believe something from Mad Cats.
Games,
I can't say for sure what it was, but there's another system coming out that's Ouya-esque. There's these micro units that you can sort of take around and go wherever, and it's going to have the Ouya system on it. The Ouya is also announced that I believe they're making a new version of Ouya 2, and it's due out, I think, later next year. Or
will that have all new games on it? Like better?
No, from what I understand, it's just going to have a
new
new processor. It's going to be faster. They're hopefully going to fix the controller problems. I haven't done my research on it, because I've been playing Ouya.
There you go.
Honestly, I have. So it comes down to Meltdown. I plugged in my Ouya again. I hadn't played it for 6 or 7 months. Just because I couldn't find it. 'Cause it's so small. And I have so many systems and electronics.
There's a joke there, and Brewer's over here laughing. We're not going to say it. I'm just going to let Lucas go on.
All I'm saying is that I had lost track of the Ouya. And I found it. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll plug it in and see what it is. And they've resurfaced it. It looks cooler, the graphical interface. And they've added sales, which is cool. Like, this week, they're having a 50% off sale on one game a day. And if they could keep this up, that would be awesome, Ouya. Because one of my pet peeves was that I didn't know if I wanted to spend that much on a game, like $15. But if they give me it at 50% off, all of a sudden I'll buy it. And that's what I started doing.
Lucas has a real boner over, like, sales, like Steam sales, board game sales, really cheap games. He buys them, doesn't even play them. He sees the sale and he has to get them.
It's an addiction.
It really is.
Like, I own...
If you ever want free games on Steam, just become friends with Lucas, and he'll just gift you games.
Yeah, real fast.
time.
Lucas, how many games? And we'll just go Steam games. You're gonna get a little off topic, but how many Steam games do you own right now?
I'm probably reaching 300.
Okay, and how many have you played?
Like 12.
Exactly.
I might have played like... They might be in the 20s. It might be in the 20s. Like, there's some games that I just absolutely... And I've finished very few of those 15 games or 20 games. I've probably finished maybe 4 of those. Like, I'll play them, and my ADD will be like, oh, but I have this. So I'll go play that. That's a whole nother thing. If there's a Steam sale coming up, we'll do a whole Steam sale episode where we talk about my horrific addiction. I also do this with console games, and I'll just buy them.
And board games.
And board games.
And board games now.
I just buy things, and I don't play them. Yeah.
But again, like I said, I apologize for getting off topic, but I saw an opportunity. I had to just poke fun at Lucas a little bit.
So when they were
you said this Meltdown game.
They were doing the sales, and they were 50% off, so I started buying games because, that's my thing. If it's on sale, I'll buy it. So I bought like 4 or 5 games, and then I saw Meltdown. I'm like, well, it's not on sale. I will wait, because next week they're having another sale. Maybe it will be. Well, I downloaded the demo, because on all Ouya games, you can download at least the demo. And play it, no matter what. That's one of the rules, is that you can get a demo of the game. At least that's what it was up till recently. They might be getting rid of that, which would be stupid, Ouya, stupid. But I played the demo of Meltdown, and Meltdown is a shooter. It's I want to say isometric shooter. By isometric, you're seeing like the third-person view from the top right-hand corner, and you're looking like down this way. So he's like,
so it's
this,
an over-the-shoulder.
It's not over the shoulder.
It's not over the shoulder.
Think it's like older than that, SNES kind of style.
Overhead?
Not overhead. It's
Bird's eye?
not. Yeah, but like from the corner. I don't know how to explain it.
I would have to see it. I don't know. What
It's awesome. It got some great artwork. It's a fun game. You buy it, and then there's also, here's my pet peeve, there's in-app purchases, which I swear I never try to do. Unfortunately, I spent probably $12 on this game, and it wasn't on sale. I bought it for like $5, and then I started playing, and I got so far, and what it is a shooter, and there's all these guns that you can learn, you level up, there's skills that you can put in, so it's sort of like, you're upgrading your guy, you're upgrading your weapons, you have this melee sword, and you can upgrade that, and I'm just like, well, I want double XP, so I bought double XP for $3 for the rest of, it's forever until you play the game, you always have it.
So you spent $5 on the game, and then you spent $3 on a power-up in the game.
Yeah, and then I played it for another level. I'm just like, well, I want more money now, too. So I got the double coin power.
For another $3?
For another $3.
Okay, so you've now spent more on power-ups than you did on the game.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not faulting you for this. I'm just...
No, and then I died, and I was like at the boss, and I was out of 1-ups, so I bought a bunch of 1-ups. I bought like a pack of 8 for another $2 or something like that.
Lucas, you are the reason that they can have sales and still be successful.
Yeah, but at the same time, Lucas hates those in-app sales, so this game has to be pretty darn good to make you want to spend that kind of money.
And it is, because I want to get the new gun. And that's a lot of games, but this game is just so reminiscent. And now you can also play it online. There's other players. I haven't done that personally because I just like playing by myself, unless my friends are around there. You guys got to go all day long. One day maybe I'll sit down with the guys and we'll do like a playthrough. And I'm hoping within the near future there's this device where we can hook up to the TV. We can record our playthroughs. I found out. And I want to start posting those if we can. Or if one of you guys have those out there, let us know because I want to play around with one and see how it is. But I would like to do a playthrough of this with headsets, and then it's sort of like a podcast while we're playing.
Yep.
And that'd be a whole different thing, part of the rack. It'd be like the rack sub thing, we play this. It's not going to be one of our podcasts.
Can we call it that? The rack something, we play this? Something, we play this.
Yeah, that's what we can call it.
But ringing endorsement, I guess, from Lucas for Meltdown on the Ouya.
Had a lot of fun. I'll probably end up playing it a little bit more tonight after I post the cast because I got to get this done. I really enjoyed it. A lot of fun. If you have an Ouya, check out Meltdown. If you don't have an Ouya, get in contact with us. And maybe I'll bring it to one of our casts and we can play afterwards or something like that.
Get some hands-on stuff.
Yeah, it's some cool stuff. I want to show people the Ouya. I'm an Ouya preacher of Ouya. I'm a believer. I believe they can come back and save the revolution, because that's what it says. When you open the box, it's like, here starts the revolution. It's this big plastic. I'm like, yes, the revolution! And it didn't get received very well.
Animated. Okay, now I'm going to go off a little bit because we have a schedule here, and this is not on the schedule at all. But you mentioned that you could play some older games on the Ouya, some
emulator games.
Now, Lucas, since you own it, I'm going to leave you last to answer this, but I'm going to ask Josh, then I'm going to answer myself.
All right.
What nostalgia bomb of a game would you love to just play again? Maybe you haven't touched it in years. Maybe you never got a chance to play it. And something that can be on the Ouya. So this is
I have it.
This is a Genesis kind of, or a Super Nintendo, or back. Basically, like, it doesn't go any farther than...
No, I have PlayStation 1 games. I'm not supposed to say this. This is probably all bad.
Okay, so...
I own all the copies of the PlayStation 1 games anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, again, remember, he's one of those purchasers. Anyway, so I guess up to PS1, what would you like to play?
All right, Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars.
Oh,
such a great game.
That is
High five.
Good answer.
High five.
That is,
awesome.
I cannot count how many years of my childhood have been just lost.
Years?
I have it, just so you know.
I have it on many a laptop, and...
So illegal. We're being so illegal right now.
We are not.
Uh-huh.
Because we delete them, because we only play them for less than 24 hours.
It,
I don't know if that's the law, but that's what
You're
I'm
just making stuff up now.
I played it through multiple college classes and such.
I remember that.
Nice. I'm going to go on record and saying anything that says Mega Man on it. Yes. I'm a massive fan. I remember in college, I talked to this guy who was like, yeah, I've beaten all the Mega Mans in so-and-so time. And I was like, oh, you want to have a race. And literally, I don't think I got anything done. Mega Man 1 through 6, just played them all straight through whenever I had any type of free time. I think I did it in 3 days. which for 6 games, I did nothing other than play it.
That's
so
insane.
Mega Man X, love it. The newer stuff where it's kind of like RPG, I'm not a fan of, but whatever.
We're probably going to be at UmaCon this year, and I challenge you to do a Mega Man costume because you're like the Mega Man-esque guy. You look like you got that build and everything. He's like short. Conrad's a little shorter, so Mega Man's like a little.
You want me to do this when?
For UmaCon in November, I believe it is, I think it's November.
Is
year.
it really?
Yeah.
I feel like it just happened.
UmaCon?
Yeah.
It did just happen in November.
Oh, sorry. I mean, if I could get something together, I can absolutely. I was actually, you know what was funny is I was thinking. That.
Ladies, what we're asking you is he needs help making maybe a tight-fitting Mega Man. What Mega Man would you be?
I'd be the original, of course.
The original Mega Man, not the Mega Man X guy.
No, well, it's just because
you gotta go blue suit with the blaster.
You gotta go blue suit with the blaster,
So
dude.
he needs some help making a Mega Man costume. I'm gonna donate Conrad to you guys if you get him in a Mega Man costume. You've heard it here on the rack. It's a promise, and we follow through.
I'm the Mega Man, and I need my Roll. Actually, no, Roll is his sister. No, he didn't have a really love interest.
No,
I need a chick to make me a costume. But I'll see if I can put it together. I'll help, obviously. But yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. I would love to do that. I have no shame. I'll dress up as anything. Okay, now Lucas, you already
did
have...
you hear that? He said anything. You know this is gonna come back and fold on him.
Whatever. That's what I say to that. Anyway, Lucas, answer the question. You played the Ouya,
So here's
you
the
have your stuff.
problem with that question. You said that I want to play. Now I have every game that I want to play. I literally probably have. Yeah, I have every game that I almost want to play. That's old, especially if it's new and I have it. Like I don't have Titanfall and I want to play that, but my Xbox red ringed, so I'm working on it. I'm working on getting another one for the 6th time because they all red ring.
Red ring.
Red ring.
Red.
So
ring.
I love Titanfall. That's another show. There was one game for a while I didn't know the name to when I wanted to play because I played it when I was young with my cousin William. You know Will.
I knew Will.
Yep.
And we played on the Sega Genesis, I believe. And it was
the one with the hats.
No.
Okay.
It was so addictive, and I loved it, and I didn't know what it was called, and I spent years and years trying to research it. And I finally found it, and it's also on SNES, and it was called Metal Marines. And what it was is you were a robot. You were a little guy that gets into a robot and you guys can
I know
fight
exactly what
against
that
each
is.
other.
Yeah, and then what happens is if your robots got jacked up, you can jump out of the robots, and these robots were like literally 10 times the size of your character.
Yes.
You had to run around and find another robot, and there were all sorts of different robots. And I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was the precursor to Titanfall.
That's
what I'm saying.
It was! Oh my god, the
It was
spiritual
awesome.
processor.
Even precursor to Mech Warrior. Because it was
Wow.
old. So I loved that game, and it was a 2D side scroller, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Because
no, it was a platformer.
So you actually had a campaign mode or a story mode where you could play through the story, and you start off as one mech, and you ended up playing through all the mechs. So there's different mechs you can get in, and each mech has a certain characteristic that it did really well, and it had a certain power up. But the really cool mode, and you didn't see a lot of this back in the SNES days, or that generation, the early '90s generation, where it was head-to-head play. Like you had fighters, but you didn't have Mech Warrior fighters on the SNES.
Okay.
And it was split screen, top, bottom, split screen, and you could fight against each other. And you could pick your mech and put them up against the other person's mech. And then certain levels had other mechs in them. So
It's
when
kinda
your
like
mech
sitting around.
got jacked up, you can try to go get another mech. Or the fun thing was when the guy jumped out of his mech to jump in his mech and then shoot his little guy. Because the guy can shoot, but he can't bring down a mech. Only a mech can bring down a mech. But the little guys can shoot at each other when they get out. So that was another tactic. It was a lot of fun. I love it. I found it probably a year or two ago. And I'm like, this is awesome. I played the crap out of it. I don't beat games, so I never beat it. But I did play the Versus mode, and I love it. I still play the Versus mode to this day. I actually took it to the Philippines when I went to the Philippines 2 years ago, and I introduced it to them over there, and they loved it. We played that. That's one of the things we did. I had surgery. I had dental surgery when I was over there. And I couldn't do much, and I sat for my beautiful vacation in the Philippines. That whole last week I was there, I just sat inside and played NBA Jam and Metal Marines the whole time with my cousins on my laptop.
Oh
And
my God.
It was the best vacation ever.
Sounds like.
But yeah, Metal Marines. That's my.
That's a good answer. All good answers. And if you guys want to tell us what your best nostalgia bomb game is, something that you'll always go back to, no matter how horrible the graphics are by today's standards, no matter how horrible the storytelling is by today's standards, all your base are belong to us. Just whatever. Let us know. Go to the Facebook. Go to the website. You just talk to us. We want to hear from you. TheRackShow.com. Yeah, come find us. We're actually going to be at a few conventions. We'll talk about the one we're going to be a little bit later, and then at the end of the show, we'll tell you where we're going to be next week. It's actually very exciting, but Steamtopia is coming up just around the corner. It is going to be May 17th. Is that right?
Okay, so actually what's happening is the guy that runs Steamtopia is also Michael Wiggins. He was on episode... He's been on a lot of our episodes, actually. So just go check out him. His name's Mike Wiggins. He runs the Steampunk Convention here in Michigan, and it is awesome. It's held at the Doubletree. But right now, they do almost monthly little get-togethers that aren't as big as the convention themselves.
That's what this is. Okay, I'm sorry.
And in May 17th, they're having a dance and volunteer meeting. So if you want to volunteer for Steamtopia in June... which is, I believe, is June 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Don't take my word for it, but you can go look at the website. But dance and volunteer meeting at the Doubletree. It's in Detroit on the border of Dearborn along Southfield Freeway. It's down near the Ford headquarters buildings. Just so you know, that's where it's at. It's a beautiful, gorgeous hotel. We stayed there last year.
It's actually where we did our. If you go to the Rack Show and look up stuff on YouTube, it's where we shot our show last year. So it's actually a lot of fun. The dance and volunteer meeting. I highly suggest volunteering for this because you get to meet the people, and we'll just go on record anytime anybody asks us, anytime we have the opportunity to let you know. I'm sorry, the steampunk community, amazing people. Just
fun stuff.
Great people. So to actually volunteer with them and get to know the culture, if you know nothing about it, it is very, very easy to let these people kind of ease you in to educate yourself. Just the tip, which, I was actually trying to avoid that. And then Lucas just friggin' said it. So there you go. That's going to be May 17th at 8 p.m. at the Doubletree in Detroit, right off of Southfield Freeway. Definitely check it out. Steamtopia is actually happening in June.
You could also register for the Steamtopia convention that happens in June at steamtopia.biz. That's STEAMTOPIA.biz. That doesn't really work on your mobile phone, so don't go there. I'll try to find a link that'll work on your mobile phones later, but you can definitely put that into your browser on your PC, or if you're one of those Apple people, you can do that too.
Apple.
Anyways,
but
check it out, register for that, and it is awesome. I believe.
And actually, I'm going to be there myself. Lucas is going to have to unfortunately miss out, but I'll be there. I don't know who I'm going to have until possibly Brewer. I don't know yet, but it should be a lot of fun. And I want to hang out with you guys, so you'll show up. All right, that'd be great. Well, we're going to be next week. Super excited. The Midwest Media Expo is happening at the Renaissance Center next weekend. Starting
in Detroit.
Well, I don't know if anybody doesn't know that the Renaissance Center isn't in Detroit.
Well, we actually, last season, we found out a lot of our, believe it or not, listeners are also in the Philippines.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a lot of cousins that have passed it around.
Okay, so then it's in Detroit for those of you who are not from the Detroit area. Should be a lot of fun. Lucas and I are actually going there. We're volunteering as well. But we're also going to be broadcasting from there, which is going to be very, very exciting. And I do say broadcast and not recording because while we are going to be recording our show beforehand, we're also going to be teaming up with another geek radio show that's based out of Las Vegas. And we're actually going to be on live radio. First time ever. Very excited.
In Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas.
We're doing 3 hours of content. So there's going to be an hour of our show. We go on at midnight in the Renaissance Center. That's going to be our show. We're going to have a special guest, Random Gibberish, I believe it is.
John St. John?
No, Random Gibberish.
Oh, Random Gibberish. Yeah, that's the gentleman who actually, one of the guys who actually does the show after ours, the live show. He's going to be on our show as well. It's kind of like a tag team. Think of like a fusion dance in the DBZ terms, which Brewer got. Lucas didn't. But it should be a lot of fun. Definitely, like I said, if you're at the Midwest Media Expo and you see Lucas R running around, come talk to us. We definitely absolutely want to meet you.
Also, what I was thinking about is come talk to us, number one.
Yeah.
Our show goes on, like I said, at midnight. We go till 1 o'clock, Conrad and I, and then we go and do their podcast, which broadcast, I believe, on The Fan in Las Vegas. That's what it's called. I think it's 97.7 I don't remember. No, that's 98.1. I don't know. I don't know the number, but it's The Fan in Las Vegas. It's a geek radio station, which I think is awesome. We should have one here. Hint, hint.
Wink, wink.
Unfortunately, all the bands are taken up here on FM radio. And
Womp, womp.
maybe we go to AM, I don't know. We will be there. Come up, talk to us, be in our show. We're going to be doing that panel. You can actually come and watch us do the podcast, which is always almost very interesting to watch. We would love to interact with you. If we have an audience, we'll definitely interact with them during the show, because that's really cool too. We'd love to see your costumes. We'd love to hear about what interests you, because we might just talk about it on the next episode.
Absolutely. And got a shout out to Crows, who's actually the host of that show. He's amazing for letting us on. It's so cool that we actually are going to have that opportunity. Thanks to everybody.
Once again, Saturday night. I don't know what the room is, but it's going to be Saturday night.
Are you? Whoa! Are you inviting people to our room?
No, the room that we're going to be broadcasting.
Oh, okay.
Out of.
That's different.
So I don't know what the room we're broadcasting out of is, but it's going to be along with Random Gibberish, I believe, is what they're called.
And we're going to have John St. John actually on both shows, or at least on his show.
Who's John St. John?
John St. John is the voice of Duke Nukem.
Yeah,
So-
baby.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do Duke Nukem. But actually, right now, we actually are on schedule for the show, which is insane, which means we're done. Like, this is it. We actually did a show on the right time. Damn it! Did we just go over? Son of a mother!
So let's see you take out the show. My name's Lucas, and this is Conrad, and he's about to tell you the tagline and see if you can get it right. Let's see it.
All right, I'm Conrad for Lucas and also Josh Brewer, LARP extraordinaire. Thank you very much. We are The Rack Show. Go to therackshow.com, where we take geek culture off the shelf and show it to you. Thank you, and good night.